Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to join you virtually from my home in Jeffersonton, Virginia, in the United States. My name is Afia Owusu-Forfie, and I'm so excited to share this moment with all of you at the University of Ghana Department of Computer Science. We are gathered here for the 2025 Maiden Alumni Homecoming, and our theme is celebrating our journey, honoring our roots, inspiring the future. What a great theme. I have been tasked to speak on the sub-theme of the role of alumni in building the Department of Computer Science. Today is Saturday, December 13th in the year 2025. That is my website, www.ifiowusu-forfie, should you need to follow up with me. Great job, Ben. It's great to follow in your stead, and I have some insight that you are the reason why I'm joining the session. So thank you for believing in women, and it's a joy to meet you, at today's homecoming event. I double down as the CEO and Chief Data Officer of a fairly new entity, Owusu-Travel LLC, and for 10 plus years I've been serving as the President and Executive Director of Owusu-Travel Incorporated, also known as the Owusu-Travel Foundation. Previously, I've worked as a lead scientist at Booz Allen Hamilton. I've also worked as a senior consultant at Deloitte Consulting, and also as a senior programmer analyst too at Mathematical Policy Research. I'm known to have founded two organizations from the ground up, the Owusu-Travel entities, as well as a prior project that I also ran for almost a decade called Women Who Code Accra. My work has fortunately been validated by the press to include Huffington Post, BBC Africa, Voice of America twice, and Class CNBC. I'm generously sharing my email in case students, partners, lecturers, guest speakers, and the alumni would like to follow up with me. Let's get started. I hold a dual Master of Science degree in Statistical Science and Operations Research from George Mason University, which is based in Fairfax, Virginia, in the US. I also hold a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science and Statistics from this very department, the Department of Computer Science at the University of Ghana. So the mission of my foundation is to inspire and advance the careers of coders, that is computer and mathematical programmers, in emerging markets like Ghana and in underserved communities in advanced countries like the United States. My agenda for today will be to have an introduction and then focus on the task at hand in the sub-theme. I'll share some career highlights, how I survived a visit to the intensive care unit. I may touch a bit, if there's time, on how I became a musician and also get into some acknowledgements. Please feel free to tag me on social media, especially LinkedIn, at the Owusu-Travel Foundation, the Owusu-Travel LLC, and at Afia Owusu-Forfie. Let's begin. In an era where artificial intelligence is driving innovation across multiple sectors, the University of Ghana, UG for short, Department of Computer Science, faces both challenges and opportunities in harnessing data and technology to meet some of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, for national development. In perusing from a source, which is the Global Manufacturing Industrialization Summit's website, I thought, even as we deliberate and have conversation starters, that we having the SDGs from the UN as our bullseye will facilitate a meaningful discussion. Out of the 17, I picked a couple, which is quality education. So by that I mean ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. Number 8, decent work and economic growth. Promoting sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. Finally, as an add-on, the creation of a department data intelligence database, if none exists, is proposed to aggregate critical leadership, technology, and community into a unified platform. We have a natural model to get some of our lessons from. The circulatory system and respiratory system make respiration possible. Blood high in carbon dioxide is transported to the lungs, where carbon dioxide is exchanged for oxygen. Oxygen is then delivered to cells via blood circulation. Even as we gather as a global and international alumni, we need to be mindful that the relationship we are kicking off or relaunching that will lead to the engagement of faculty, students, alumni, partners, and other stakeholders, that we need to find and depend on each other in the same way the respiratory system and manages oxygen and carbon dioxide. So circulatory system needs carbon dioxide and the respiratory system needs oxygen. Reimagining the model. The respiratory and circulatory systems of the human anatomy can serve as an excellent model for an exchange between the Western world, or the African diaspora more relevantly, and Africa. These systems operate equitably with boundaries, mutual benefits, and complementary functions, unified in their vision to absorb oxygen and expel carbon dioxide. Similarly, if advanced and developing countries adhere to a common vision, a sustainable exchange centered around community, leadership, natural resources, and technology could be achieved. My focal observation is that the Western world, or inclusive of the African diaspora, needs natural resources and community from Africa, while Africa needs leadership and technology from the West. Now, as alumni, I'm proposing that we just focus on community from Africa and leadership and technology from the West. But who knows? Maybe some of our mates are already in the agricultural industry, and maybe they will have insights into this natural resources addition. I can't wait to talk about it in the breakout sessions. More about some of my expertise over the years. This is my mind map that features career highlights from the Women Who Code Accra project through to working holiday visa and summer jobs in the United Kingdom, an instructor highlight video with Coursera, the massive open online platform courses. I'm a guest in Chernobyl as a UN panelist. I'm also launching in Tyson's, the new Coders Who Travel incorporated entity with some initial advisors and board of directors. Under the academic job history and media mentions, these logos represent alma maters and media mentions and places of work that was paid. So I've already touched on some of them in my bio, so I'll skip for now. Some of my interests include writing articles, and I've done some for the Chief Data Officer magazine and the American Statistical Association. I'm a recording artist and a composer who has released 2 albums in English and Twi, dubbed The Anointing Breaks the Yoke and Ngosrano Bubu in Konya. I love playing lawn tennis and table tennis and enjoy adult Bible fellowships at church. I'm showing my parents. My mom teaches me about perseverance, and my dad shows me that the sky is the limit. And I love working with SAS and Tableau for data analytics and data visualizations. How we will do it. On this slide, I would like to focus and empower and inspire us and encourage us on how we will do it. My vehicle that I'm proposing is that via the UG-DCS Alumni or University of Ghana Department of Computer Science Alumni. More clearly, experts will be gathered globally and inspired to come together to solve these problems. First, we will need a global alumni website. Then we will need our own University of Ghana Department of Computer Science database, UG-DCS. We also need to cultivate a global mindset and offer frameworks for current students, staff, faculty, and other partners. The African diaspora, or this alumni, not just the African diaspora, since we consist of those in advanced countries and those who are in country in Ghana. So pardon me for that, but we will offer with those in diaspora leading the skills, expertise, and knowledge, or partnering. I remember launching Women Who Code Accra, and there was this graduate from Ashesi, and she really knew what she was about, called Winifred. And so it may not be us in the advanced countries leading, but it could be a great partnership. But I am leaning towards us leading because obviously I'm in that group. And we will bring about community through workshops and meetups and conferences and travel. And then we have to provide results, reports, which fall under the domain of monitoring and evaluation, as well as real accountability. Alumni impact: put new pathways in the flow of donations, boost project-based expertise via internships and jobs, promotes giving back and philanthropic projects by partnering with organizations such as mine, the Coders Who Travel Foundation. To clarify, fostering technology and data communities internally and outside the department, curating complementary on-demand or live lectures, facilitating student, faculty, alumni networking groups, and optimizing solutions and improved maintenance. What are some virtues that will carry us to go the distance? The first virtue I would like to share is altruism, defined as the belief in or practice of disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others. And I know something about that. Biblically, it's stated in John chapter 12, verse 24, that Jesus said, "I tell you the truth, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds." And I know something about getting close to dying. This is me in the ICU in February 2016. And the second picture on the right is me on a hospital transfer. Because of that experience and what I went through, I started, I should say, something in me, Christians call it the conviction of the Holy Spirit, started sparing songs, old songs across hymns and many other Christian genres or types of music, hymns, American contemporary songs, crusade and revival, Christian or Pentecostal songs, some in Cheese, most times in English, and on and on and on, until I believe my pipes within me were open to start receiving brand new songs. And so allow me to play a little bit of a new song that I composed, and it's called "What Shall I Render You, My Lord?" Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of that. The next virtue I would like us to look at is innovation, the action or process of innovating. That will carry us through the distance. In 2019, I was invited as a guest of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and it was a sponsored trip by the UN, and attending the World Manufacturing Forum in Chernobyl, Italy. That's me seated with a panel from Class CNBC, Claudia, Olga from UNIDO, Sadar Ahmed from Pakistan Ministry, Jürgen from European Commission, and Joyce from the Kenya Manufacturing Association. A journalist from Class CNBC, Claudia, moderated the panel discussion on the policy framework for emerging economies. My contribution included being mindful of the context of culture when international technology frameworks are introduced in emerging markets. The larger conference theme was new skills for the future of manufacturing, and our panel focused on policy framework for industrial skills development in emerging economies. It was a great highlight, and it's been an encouragement that the work that I do is important, and that gives me hope because from the ICU I was able to be favored and selected for such an important assignment. Next, from September 2019, I got interviewed by Coursera in February 2022. I'll play a bit of the video.
My name is Afia Owusu-Forfie. I am a senior consultant with Deloitte Consulting, and I am also the founder of Coders Who Travel. My projects on Coursera focus on introducing learners to SAS. Complex subjects like math, statistics, computer science typically require an initial dedication and intensity to get over the learning curve. I personally understood how sometimes demanding work commitments prevents someone who loves learning from committing to big chunks of learning. And that's why I've chosen to impart my knowledge through the guided projects. As an immigrant from Ghana, as soon as I got SAS on my resume, doors started to open. I hope my students experience the magic that SAS brings to one's career.
That was a great highlight as well.
My name is Afia Owusu-Forfie.
And earlier this year, my alma mater, George Mason's Black Alumni Chapter, honored me with an award called the 40 Under 40 Honoree Award. And that's me receiving my award. Glory be to God, who takes a struggling woman in the ICU to speak on the United Nations Industrial Development Organization platform and gets spotlighted by Coursera to finally receiving an award from her alma mater. The third virtue I like to focus on for the rest of the presentation is how we execute. Execution, by definition, is the carrying out or putting into effect of a plan, order, or course of action. And so that gives me an opportunity to share more about our role of alumni in building, the role of alumni in building the Department of Computer Science. Let's reflect on our student days, if you will, indulge me. We all did combined majors between 2003 to 2007 because the Department of Computer Science was not offering single majors at the time. We all did mathematics or statistics or other majors like geography, psychology, economics, and those options were no jokes as well. We all remember Joe Bloke. It's our inside secret for one of our lecturers. We all needed perseverance to lay hold of our degree, some greater perseverance to the point of long suffering. We worked around under-resourced labs with not nearly enough computers for us all to use. And yes, we wrote code or syntax on paper during exams. Our current situation, some of us stayed on the UG campus and built careers right within her walls. Most of us stayed in Ghana at large and pursued careers mostly in banks, insurance, education, government, oil and gas industry, and so forth. Some of us left Ghana to pursue advanced degrees in North America, Europe, and elsewhere. And after all these years, we are returning for this maiden alumni homecoming after 18 solid years. I'm not sure what took us so long to rally ourselves together for this meaningful gathering, but here we are together in person and online around the globe. And it's quite a treat to be here. So in the spirit of looking back, let's look at the rearview mirror of how far we've traveled. When we came here, there were a lot of challenges. Looking back, there has not been as much significant change, and I know this from running a focus group discussion in September 2018 with college students or university students across multiple institutions. So, how can we bring the UG Department of Computer Science to the standard and caliber of colleges and graduate schools in advanced countries? I'm glad you asked. That is the main purpose of this gathering. Now, don't immediately think of only money, although donations are eventually going to be welcomed. Money goes a long way. While it does, there are equally essential, weighty pillars we all can engage in right now, in whether we have much or whether we have less, whether we are rich or whether we are poor. Now, some of these weighty pillars have already been mentioned, and I share the top three, which is the Global Alumni website, the UG DCS database, and the global mindset and frameworks, and so forth. So I'd like to touch on my journey beyond graduation. Without being overly prescriptive, I'll share what my own journey since leaving school has been like and how I ended up operating in 3 domains: mathematical sciences, philanthropy, and music. And hopefully this can serve as conversation starters for us to consider what we can draw from our own experiences and give back to the Department of Computer Science specifically. Since leaving, I served as a teaching assistant at the Department of Statistics during the National Service period. I also served briefly as a statistician for an HR consulting firm run by my auntie back then. While a TA, I visited the United States to finally see my mother after 5 years of not seeing her in December 2007. I also attended my first American Statistical Association conference, dubbed the 63rd Annual Deming Conference on Applied Statistics, that same month in December. Then I returned back to Ghana in February 2008 to complete my TA contract, to the surprise of my then head of department. Due to differences in my blended family, I made a decision after much prayer to return to the United States again in November 2008. It was the election night of Barack Obama. In November 2015, after 7 years of never visiting Ghana, I returned to launch the first sub-Saharan network for a global organization called Women Who Code Incorporated. I led it part-time simultaneously alongside my paid work experiences for 9 years, 9 months, until the organization abruptly folded globally. The launch of Women Who Code Accra impressed 2 journalists from Huffington Post and BBC Africa. Co-workers back in the United States were equally impressed. At the time, I was a senior programmer analyst, one at Mathematical Policy Research Inc., and had a great female boss, Maria, and an unofficial buddy called Christina. NPR approved a far-flung status for me, so I worked. They approved a far-flung status for me, so I worked part-time remotely while launching the Women Who Code Accra project over a period of 2 weeks. During the launch, I thought we would execute all workshops with just women, since this was a women empowerment program. But soon some of my male classmates like Michael helped us secure the UG ICT lab as our venue, and another guy supported with budget templates. Here are some lessons learned as I shared with the journalist Trent Smith at Huffington Post. I thought at the time that I needed to start this great idea with big names. That did not happen. One person led me to another, and then another, and the rest is history. It taught me that it's okay to start an extraordinary cause with ordinary people. In December 2016, a South African journalist with British Broadcasting Corporation Africa called Lerato Mbele took interest in the project and filmed the Ghana's Women Who Code Network during a Python lab session. I'd like to draw an example from the Bible again. Now, it's a good time to say when I was pursuing my degree, I came to a junction where I had to choose between computer science and statistics and computer science and mathematics. 2 of my great friends at the department, Amma and Amma, Tall Amma and Blunt Amma, were the expressions they gave in the department, and I was kind of like in between, the peacemaker. So Tall Amma chose computer science and mathematics, and Blunt Amma chose computer science and statistics, and I was caught in this limbo. Where should I go? Where should I go? So I decided to take all the courses in both mathematics and statistics and computer science in that sophomore or second year or level 200 second semester, and that did not go well. I returned from a summer trip from the United Kingdom, and I was crushed to see a couple of grades were so bad that I could no longer register for the courses that were prerequisites or sequels to what we had done. And I remember they were real analysis, introduction to real analysis, and a probability course. I wish I would say it was easy, but I just so happened to find a neighbor. We were in the same hostel. Her name is Melissa, and I found this little booklet called The Prayer of Jabez, and that night I hit on my knees and I sincerely asked the Lord to expand my territory and not let me cause pain. And this is a prayer found in the Old Testament in the Bible. And so my faith offered a crucial, critical, pivoting moment. And the University of Ghana Departments of Computer Science and the Department of Statistics gave me the roots I needed to excel. Now, each of us, computer science alumni, represents a branch of the whole tree of mathematical sciences. And today I have the distinguished honor of sharing that branch, which is my story. But you are also a branch. And so think of what your resources, in your own way, meaningful way, how can it make an impact? I'm reminded of this verse that Jesus mentioned, John 15:5. Yes, I am the vine, You are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. The New Living Translation is this version. I don't mean to be preachy. I just want to say that the prayer of Jabez was a critical time for me. I did not want to cause pain. I particularly thought about my dear mother in those days. And then the next person was my dad, but it was more so my mother. I did not want to cause her pain was the overriding thought over and over again. Well, enough about that. Let's move on. So the women had men supporting them who helped with videography, photography, and ensuring the computers in the lab had the right software and programming languages installed like SAS. I recall one of the women having her husband care for her toddler so she could participate. My former statistics lecturer, Mr. Yeboah, or SAY for short, participated, and other male friends attended and provided observations and insights during the maiden workshops. We also heard from one of the women that she would love to do coding or programming at her workplace, but she's always pushed into coordinating roles and administrative tasks, even with a BSc in computer science and statistics. That was heartbreaking to hear. As I mentioned earlier, I launched 7 maiden workshops from a hackathon, SAS studio demo, Excel in your career, seminar, the case for programming, panel discussion, the value of mentorship, lightning talks, my favorite programming language, and networking night. I left Ghana so full and proud of the women and our supporting men, and I knew I would not stay away for so long. I also went back knowing that the observations in developing countries when it comes to coding skills and related careers was way different than in advanced countries. To my shock, I learned from women who code headquarters that they expected me to have gotten in-country sponsors in Ghana to cover all my travel, accommodation, and flight expenses. Ground transportation, accommodation, and flight expenses. Apparently, that was their model in advanced countries, and they had a firm expectation that it ought to work for even developing countries. This led me to finding an attorney to think through what had just happened to me, and he counseled that I begin my own organization because he observed certain qualities in me that will make it work. So, Coders Who Travel as an idea was encouraged and planted. I purposefully chose coders and put a travel in it because I knew that travel would be important as part of the organization. I also wanted to emphasize traveling because while I got volunteers in the United States to support me, none of them was willing to come to Ghana, but I did. The attorney also counseled that I should abort my relationship with women who code, but I was already pregnant with the new vision of women and their supporting men collaborating together. So I told the attorney, I feel like I'll be aborting this new mission if I walk away. And I'm glad to report that attorney was right. Indeed, I'll go ahead and launch Coders Who Travel in December 2016. Next year, we celebrate our 10th anniversary. So from 2017, as you look at the milestones and future goals, through 2018, 2019, 2020, and up to 2025 currently. We've done lunch and learns, we've gotten our 501c3 status, we've sponsored and piloted trips of 2 women in a form that I never got from the prior organization that I mentioned. And we've done focus group discussions with students, C-suite and faculty, C-suite executives and faculty. We've done boot camps and webinars and other career coaching events, from Python programming to SAS programming to R programming, as well as the Excel in your career workshops. We've done 2 cohorts. We've also done Veterans Can Code for U.S. military personnel transitioning into the civilian life. We've also traveled to rural areas like Kukum, Ahafo to launch establishing technology footprints projects. And starting last year in November, we've begun to receive opportunities to partner with institutes like educational institutions and membership organizations such as Catholic University of Ghana and Institute of ICT Professionals Ghana. And we are on the cusp of even about 3-4 more partnerships. In our current Excel in Your Career coaching, I went back to my alma mater, Wesley Girls High School, and I'll say the girls are really excelling in the program. So I'm a proud alumni there as well. So when we had a focus group discussion, students had something to say. Let's watch.
Sunday evening, I'm looking back over all the years and where I've been.
Our services are project-based knowledge, just the idea that there are a lot of theoretical information and tertiary institutions. I don't know if it's still the case, but is that still the case?
Yes.
I am learning how to code at the moment, particularly Python, and then a bit of Android apps that I haven't started that. And fun fact, I don't know. I guess I just like
that. Now I know it is well.
I remember there was a time that people were writing on paper with paper and pen as assignments.
You have to go to class, you have to do your project work, and
someone
write exams.
How interesting.
Yeah, and you write exams. So at the end, they accumulate everything, and then they have a percentage.
So what examination mark is usually 30 to 35% of your final grade. So the rest is assignments, projects, and regulation. And I think the rest of the 65. That's it.
I studied as we started engaging in projects as early as level 2. We had to design, so we had to come up with a capstone project idea which will be assessed at the end of the semester instead of writing the exam. And it was also happening in our later years, that's our third year and our final year. For our final year, it's a year-long project, so for an entire 12 months you will engage in a project upon which will be assessed.
In general, what kind of skills do you need to have in addition to programming? So your question, so we already have one, that's leadership. Okay.
Some skills.
Some skills like, okay, so leadership is one, so any other
Time
skills?
management.
Time management.
Learning how to learn what is most productive.
Yes.
And learning how to
Yeah.
learning how to search and stuff about it.
Okay, so learning how to search, then how to... Okay, so Google is you're making that a synonym for searching.
It is well. The mountain where I climbed, the valley where I fell, you were there all along. That's the story I'll tell. Brought the pieces together, made me the storyteller. Now I know it is well, that's the story, For years and years and years, I'll tell. That's the story I'll tell.
Thank you for watching. What has giving back done for me, and alongside working for pay, what has it taught me? I was featured in the Amsterdam News in December 2023 by the American Statistical Association. Yes, you heard that right. My first conference was in December 2007, and in December 2023, a full circle moment happened where they allowed me to share my ASA story. Such an honor. Then the Chief Data Officer magazine also featured an article that I wrote about we should all be volunteers. Advantages of giving back that I would like to cover as shared with CDO magazine, and I would like to read a bit of it. Since August 2014, when I began recruiting women to be part of coding networks, we've had amazing men come out in support of the idea. I also learned that, sorry for the prompt, I also learned that in developing countries, the men also need some help. With the past tenure of 4.5 years at Deloitte US firms and almost 3 years at the think tank Mathematical Policy Research, here's how volunteering helped me excel in the corporate environment. Volunteering over the years helped me to know who I am. I know I am a servant leader. I know I'm a mentor. I also know that I'm an encourager. Volunteering has helped me stay confident when performance reviews at work do not always carry good news. Feedback from volunteering gives me a holistic picture, and it is the benchmark for filtering through criticisms that are constructive and those that are not. Volunteering enabled me to believe in myself again. Becoming a teaching assistant at the University of Ghana helped me teach a cohort of students I had to retake classes with in a prior year. Volunteering enabled me to fill gaps in my job history when I resigned from Deloitte to focus on my mental well-being from March 2018 to January 2021. Volunteering enabled me to become a recording artist and composer of 2 music albums, The Anointing Breaks the Yoke, released in 2022, and Ngosirano Bubu Nkonia, released in 2023, because the skill sets of organizing and project management I developed over the years served me well to become a do-it-yourself musician. And last but not the least, my volunteering while at Deloitte enabled me to embrace firm initiatives like US Black Consulting Cohort, Women in Data, CDS, Consulting Development, Experience and Power. That's what CDS stands for, and Step Up DC. In conclusion, through giving back, as I've already read on the previous slide, I found that when women are vetting men at the Women Who Code project, and also coders who travel currently, that it leads to great alliances such as partnerships, collaboration, coordination, mutual respect, networking, and professional relationships, and you bet sometimes romantic relationships as well. That's why at Coders Who Travel, we focus on 65% women, because I am a woman, and my prior project focused on women, and we bonded so much. So I'm not going to apologize further. It's 65% women target, 35% men. All these skills are needed by computer scientists. That is points 1A through to 1E. And number 2, the benefits have been learning how to operate in the marketplace, the government, the workplace, to include corporate and organizations, to include non-profit organizations, non-government organizations, and religious organizations. Thank you for your audience. Now I'd like to share some pictures with you. I'll start by remembering Women Who Code Accra. And here are some pictures, me and the girls on the networking night, or young women I should say. This was the first workshop, the hackathon. This was the SaaS demo day. This was the seminar about the case for programming. This was the career day. These were pictures taken on the panel discussion day and the lightning talks, as well as networking events that happen at the ICT Lab, Impact Hub Accra, and Dream Oval. And the other picture is one of the women from early days of Women Who Code, Ida, visiting her alma mater to deliver a workshop. Now I will celebrate Coders Who Travel. This is me and the initial board of directors and advisors. This is us at the first lunch and learn to deliberate on the path forward. This is when Chloe was relocating to UK, and so we did a party for her. This is Afia taking part in Python Labs. This is a fundraiser. You can recognize one of the alumni from computer science, Elvis and his wife. So that was great to reconnect and rebond. This is an influence day where advisors came and gave feedback to the Coders Who Travel work. And these are students that we saw through that focus group discussion. And this is our second fundraiser that I'm giving a speech at, and some of the members and one guy who sang a song. And then this is the C-suite executive with Mr. Fred Moore, formerly the president of the Chartered Institute of Accountants Ghana. I hope I said it right. And me interviewing him for more than an hour. And then I did expert interviews with faculty at KNUST and the co-founder of Kumasi High. So the faculty were Dr. Ebenezer Jackson and Professor Ebenezer Jackson, Professor Eric Otenabeye, and George Afia, who I mentioned is the founder. And shout outs to him for taking care of everything from videos, photography, and news. He's the only person who's hosted me and didn't ask me for a dime. I'd like shout outs to alumni from this very department, Mikiofori Kuregu and Amma Ananizuta, who also have supported interviewing students at their company, Tulu Oil Ghana, or Talu Oil Ghana, depending on how you pronounce it. And this is us at the Ghana Data Science Summit, also part of the network at Legon. And this is Professor Elsie Kaufman moderating a faculty discussion. Finally, I brought an appendix, but I don't know how we are doing on time. But quickly to say, Coders Who Travel is ready to leverage our experiences to partner with the Computer Science Department's alumni. We have stakeholders from board members through to experts in SAS, Python, Tableau, and Power BI. And I have built a great network of people and following over the years. And these are some faces of board members and key people who I tap into every now and then, and in the day-to-day operations, as well as, regular quarterly meetings. And some of them are visiting today and stopping by the Coders Who Travel booth. We have 2 student ambassadors manning the booth, but some of the more tenured members will be stopping by. And I'd like to say thank you. Please follow up. Thank you to Walter Brown for inviting me to this event. And I also thank Ben for believing in women being part of the keynote speeches. And to everyone at the sound of my voice, thank you for being here, and keep the faith, keep the hope. You can do it. And this has been a talk by Afia Owusu-Forfie, founder of Owusu-Travel. Bye for now. Bye. And now, I present to you news and stats as my combined majors. The other major was in statistics. I'll be remiss if I didn't share some statistics with you. So, the UN, United Nations, has officially designated the African diaspora as the 6th region of Africa, recognizing their integral role in the continent's future and development. I'm moving quickly here. I found these graphics. Africa is financing the world. I'm not going to go through all of it for lack of time, but this is being recorded. Take close attention to it. And the other chart on its right is how Africa can trade with itself, the road to true economic independence. I did say I won't touch a base, but let's just observe what's happening here. And so the African Union has the Diaspora Division. The Diaspora Division serves as the focal point and hub for implementing the African Union decision to invite and encourage the African diaspora to participate in the building and development of the African continent. Its main task, therefore, is to serve as a catalyst for rebuilding the global African family in the service of the development and integration agenda of the continent. The division is under the Directorate Office of the Department and takes directives and instructions from the Directorate Office. Moving on. Core responsibilities: mainstreaming diaspora participation in the African Union agenda, strengthening the operational capacity of the African Union to support diaspora involvement in AU activities through regular communication and flow of information on AU events and activities and vice versa. Serving as the focal point for accreditation of diaspora organizations and networks as observers, delegates, and participants at AU summit and other meetings. Managing and coordinating other forms of interaction between the AU and diaspora organizations worldwide, enabling participation of diaspora in CSO, etc., etc. You get the point. Now let's look at remittances that are sent countries in Africa according to Statista Research Department, November 27th to 2025. The remittances sent to Africa went largely towards Egypt, Nigeria, and Morocco in 2021, with each country receiving at least 10 billions worth of dollars. This is, I can't believe I read 2 billions in one statement, but that's what it says. This is according to a database that tries to model money sent internationally from one party to another. And so African diaspora are really doing a lot, and these 3 countries are benefiting most especially from it. Remittances worldwide, statistics and facts. Remittances increased so much that by 2024 they have become a major theme in both finance and macroeconomics. The United States was the country with the highest value of such outward migrant remittances in the world, for example. Remittances, etc. I'll move on. Top 50 highest remittance sending countries in the world, released November 27, 2025. In 2023, the value of migrant remittances transferred from the United States to other countries amounted to $85.7 billion US, This makes the United States the country worldwide with the highest amount of migrants remittances outflows in a year. And that, thank you again, and that has been the news and stats. I hope my UG statistics professors are also proud of me, just like the UG computer science. Thank you for all the times you invested in us, even working with the limited resources. You did your best as you could, and I just want to thank you. And whatever you put in me became the roots, and I've become a branch. And alumni, this is a global call. Let's explore your branch. Thank you, and it's been a pleasure presenting this co-keynote address with the other two gentlemen, Ben and Samuel. But thank you. Bye for now. Bye.